Welcome to the Reading Project, brought to you by the Charleston Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in Charleston, South Carolina. We provide a variety of service projects and needed assistance to and for people in our local community and worldwide. The Reading Project was initially created by the chapter's International Awareness and Involvement Committee with an emphasis on supporting the sorority's international service projects in South Africa, Kenya, and Haiti. However, through the success of these efforts, we are able to reach children locally, regionally, and nationally, in addition to our international interests. Now, we are excited to share with you a series of readings from books, poems, and short stories read by members of our chapter. These readings provide lessons of hope, determination, and inspiration. You will hear members reading from pieces by James Baldwin, Hans Christian Andersen, Aesop, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, Paul Galdone, and Virginia Hamilton. Now, we hope that you have fun because books create imagination and can take you everywhere. So keep reading. Now, let's begin.
Hello, my name is Mary Joseph, and the book I'm reading causes you to ask the question, have you ever thought about a time when you thought, I can't do that, it's too new? So I'll ask my friends. Well, the book, The Little Red Hen by Paul Galdone shows that sometimes it's a good thing that you're wrong. A little red hen lived in the barnyard, and she spent almost all of her time walking about the barnyard, pickety-pickety fashion, scratching everywhere for worms. She loved fat, juicy, delicious worms and felt that they were nutritious for her children. She would call chuck, chuck, chuck to her chicks, and they'd gather around her, and she'd distribute fat, juicy morsels. The cat usually napped lazily in the barn door, not even bothering herself to scare the rat, who ran here and there as he pleased. And as for the pig, who lived in the sty, he didn't care what happened so long as he could eat and grow fat. One day, the little red hen found a seed and supposing it to be a worm until she gently bit it. It wasn't a worm. She asked around and found out it was a wheat seed that if planted would grow up and when ripe could be made into flour and the flour could be made into bread. She knew it ought to be planted, but she was so busy finding food for herself and her family that she thought she wouldn't have time to plant it. She thought of the fat pig, who had nothing but time, and the cat, who had nothing to do, and the rat, who ran around all the time. She asked, who will help plant the seed? The pig said, not I. The cat said, not I. The rat said, not I. So the little hen said, I will. And she did. Then she went on her duties, scratching for worms and feeding her chicks while the pig grew fat, the cat grew fat, the rat grew fat, and the wheat grew tall and ready for harvest. One day, the little red hen saw that the wheat was ripe, and she asked, who will help cut the wheat? But the pig said, not I. The cat said, not I. And the rat said, not I. So the hen said, I will. And she did. She got the sickle from among the farmer's tools and cut the wheat. The wheat was ready to be threshed, but the newest of her chicks was peep, peep, peeping and letting her know that they felt neglected. The hen was torn between her chicks and the wheat for which she felt responsible. Who will help thresh the wheat? But the pig said with a grunt, not I. The cat with a meow said, not I. And the rat with a squeak said, not I. So the little red hen, rather discouraged, said, I will. And she did. Of course, she had to feed her babies first, and after she had gotten them to sleep for their afternoon nap, she went and threshed the wheat and asked, "Who will carry the wheat to the mill to be ground?" But the pig said, "Not I." The cat said, "Not I." And the rat said, "Not I." So the hen had nothing to do but say, "I will." And she did, carrying the sack of wheat all the way to the mill, and where it was finally ground into flour. On her way back, she found some nice, juicy, fat worms, and when she finally reached her chicks, they really appreciated her. After her long, strenuous day, she went to bed early before the sun went down. She would have liked to sleep late, but her chicks, joining in the morning chorus of the barnyard, drove away all hopes of that luxury. Even as she sleepily, with one eye open, thought the wheat somehow had to be made into bread. She was not in the habit of making bread, and of course, anyone could if they followed the recipe with care, and she knew perfectly well she could if necessary. But she looked for the pig, the cat, and the rat. Confident that they would help her, she asked, "Who will help make the bread?" But once again, her hopes were dashed. The pig said, "Not I." The cat said, "Not I." And the rat said, "Not I." So the little red hen once more said, "I will." And she did. She knew all the time that she would have to do it all herself. So she went, put on a fresh apron and her baker's cap. She got the molding board and the baking tins, and she divided the bread into loaves and put it in the oven to bake. All the while the cat sat lazily giggling and chuckling. The rat pouted his nose, admiring himself in a mirror, and the pig was snoring during an afternoon nap. At last, the aroma of the bread came through the afternoon breeze. The red hen, in her pickety-pickety way, went toward the source of excitement. She wanted to dance and sing, but wasn't sure if the bread had baked right. When she got to the oven, the loaves came out in perfection. As it was her habit, she asked, "Who will help me eat the bread?" All the animals in the barnyard were licking their lips, and the pig said, "I will." The cat said, "I will." And the rat said, "I will." But the little hen said, "No, you won't. I will." And she did. The end.